What's up, everybody? Party animals. Hey, my name's Rev. Welcome to the DeFi 101 session. We're going to get started. I want to just kind of preface everything that I'm going through. Um, Definitely do your own research on DeFi. Make sure that you are keeping yourself safe, investing only what you can lose. You're going to get wrecked if you don't. You're going to get wrecked probably even if you do. It happens, but make sure that you're taking it safe. Know what you're doing before you invest. Um, and I'll caveat this: this is not investing advice. You shouldn't take investing advice from me, so it's not investing advice. Now that I've said that, DeFi 101. My name's Rev. We're here sponsored by Yieldiac. We're on the Avalanche Party Animals Discord. I'm the community manager over there. My voice sounds splendid, says Party Animal. Thank you so much. And tune in. If you're in the Discord, tune in on the YouTube link above. We are going to be recording this, but I just want you to get live with us. You can ask questions. How long is this meant to be for? About an hour. We're going to see. I haven't practiced through this entirely, so we'll see how this goes. So let's get started talking about DeFi. First, a little bit about me. I already said some of these things, but I started really trading crypto, doing types of things with it May 2021. I'm fresh. I'm sure a lot of you are fresh as well. That's why I say this is a DeFi 101 course session, not something advanced. I'm going to get into some advanced things that you can explore later, but this is definitely, I'm new. I'm in no way an expert. I just have tried a lot of things and been there. I got started trading crypto on Coinbase, probably like a lot of you. Was making some good money and really liked it. So I said, okay, well, I'm going to get into this a little further and got my first MetaMask wallet, set it up, and almost immediately found Iron Finance on Polygon, was where I started, and got into Titan, started investing in that. If some of you know about this, it was a big success and then a gigantic failure. I managed to get out before the big crash. Hopefully you did too, but that's your first lesson. Things are going to get you wrecked if you're not careful. And trading crypto, DeFi is very volatile. So you got to get used to the ups and downs and be prepared for that. Since then, I've been a community manager a lot of places, got a lot of, I'm grinding my way, doing a lot of things. I'm a product manager in real life, trying to move into DeFi full time and really want to get there. The other thing you should know about me, I'm a big supporter of the Frog Nation projects. So Abracadabra, Popsicle, Wonderland. I love those guys. I love Danny. And I am super excited about this project. So I use them as some of my examples here. I also have a Discord about the Frog Nation projects. It's in my Discord profile. It's on my Twitter. You can see it there. Find me on Twitter, Revol Spaces. I'm on Medium. I'm a writer there. And look for those Discord links for the Avalanche Animal Party and Party Animals, excuse me, and for Frog Nation in my Discord profile. But that's enough about me. I want to talk about DeFi with you, decentralized finance. What is DeFi? I mean, when you talk about DeFi, what is it? DeFi is not something that has a centralized authority. We're not going through someone making the laws, putting through different standards, etc. There's no bottleneck that way. It makes it quicker, easier. No middle men, no middle persons. How does DeFi work? We're using smart contracts on the blockchain. I'm not going to go into those in depth, but this is programmed smart contracts that are shared between people. And basically, what that does is it opens up visibility to everyone. You can see what's on the blockchain, what's happening. It makes it mutable. Once something happens on the blockchain, you can't change it, and it makes it composable. Those smart contracts can all work together to do something, and that makes decentralized finance really fantastic to do a lot of things. You can lend, you can borrow, you can farm, etc., all because of these smart contracts on the blockchain. And the big value is you can't lie to the blockchain. Everybody's got a copy of it. If you try to lie to it, you're going to get found out, and that makes it a big trust issue fall away. There are trust issues in DeFi, but for other reasons, I'll get into those a little bit. But that's kind of a startup on decentralized finance. A lot of the time you'll hear about in DeFi dApps and wallets. What is a dApp? It's a decentralized app. Again, it's those smart contracts, usually with a front end, a website controlling them. And then you're interacting with that dApp as a participant. And there's lots of different types of participants. There's you using MetaMask. There is another smart contract that someone has set up, and they're starting something and it interacts with another smart contract. Boom, 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 Lego, 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 building something. There's DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations that come together and make decisions on the blockchain and put them into effect. And then there's multi-sig wallets. A lot of devs use this for safety. You can think of a multi-sig wallet as a wallet that when it does a transaction, when it makes something happen on the network, it needs multiple people to authorize that, or at least not multiple people, but multiple wallets. That's really key caveat. Make sure you know that a wallet does not equal a person. It's not a one-to-one. Let's talk about your wallet really quick. What you're doing with when you set up a MetaMask is you're basically setting up your secured access to the blockchain. You're setting up your way to interact with the blockchain. Um, your wallet is where your tokens go. Sometimes you can just hold tokens there from the blockchain, make sure that you hold them there. Other times you're using those tokens and your gas to initiate transactions on the blockchain. You can also use your wallet to send and receive funds. The huge thing here that I want to pass on is if you've got a wallet, don't ever share your passphrase with anyone. Don't share your screen while your wallet's open. You will get wrecked. Somebody will steal your stuff, take your passphrase, and use it to take your funds. Like I said, I started out in crypto by trading. A lot of you probably started out in the same way on a centralized exchange like Coinbase. But I think quickly once you get into DeFi, you learn about decentralized exchanges like Trader Joe or Sushi or Pangolin or all these other ones. And on those central exchanges or those decentralized exchanges, you're trading crypto assets like USDC, AVAX, ETH, etc., etc., etc. It's important to know that those aren't just things that are tradable. These things have utility. When we talk about, uh, for example, MIM, magical internet money, it's a stable coin. It has utility as a stable coin. When we talk about Ohm or time, one of the things that they're trying to do is make a global currency that's not pegged and is used around the world as a currency. You've got other things like index tokens that take a basket of tokens, collect them together, and when you buy that token, you're basically buying that basket of assets. Things like Sushi or Uni's token are used for governance, making decisions on the blockchain as a DAO and come together on those decisions. Um, why is the blockchain always running? Why can't it just walk? Thank you very much. Um, you've got Doge, which is a meme coin. You got lots of meme coins that people just love to make to trade, make a little money off of, or just make a laugh. Uh, you've got coins that are just used for gas to make things happen on the network, like AVAX, ETH, etc. You've also got reward tokens from farms that basically they're there to trade, and for you providing liquidity, which we'll talk about in a second, you get a reward token. And then finally, you've got deposit receipts. When you go to lend out your collateral, your assets, you're going to get a deposit receipt, like a B token or an A token from Aave, excuse me. And that is basically them saying, hey, we know you gave this to us in a permissionless way. Here's your way to get it back. It's a receipt deposit. One of the things that I first came upon when trading crypto, talking about DeFi, is liquidity. What is liquidity? Liquidity is basically you saying, hey, I've got these assets and I want to make a way for others to make them, I want to make them liquid. I want to make them tradable so that folks can trade in and trade one asset for another. What you do is you take those assets, pool them together. You pull them together at a place like Curve or Trader Joe, and then people can trade one asset for another. And usually when you provide liquidity, you get a reward for doing so. Curve gives you CRV for doing so. Trader Joe sends you Joe for doing so for a lot of rewarded pools. You can make a pretty good APR in DeFi just by providing liquidity, by saying, hey, I have these two assets or more assets. I want to give them to this protocol project. I want them to be tradable, and make sure that people have access to them. When we're talking about trading, I have a couple of tips that I want to share with you all. It's really important that as you're approving things on the blockchain, as you're working in DeFi, you watch what you approve on websites. If you've got two transactions that come up on your MetaMask, make sure you know what both of those are. If you're on kind of a sketchy site, and you're not sure what you're doing, you might want to approve spending your tokens at a lower rate. You can change all of this in MetaMask. So watch what you're approving. If you're trading crypto a lot, one thing you definitely want to do is check the charts on a token. Something like Dex.Guru or Charter for Avalanche is really great to be able to say, how is this coin doing? What's the history on it? How's the moving average? We've got all these things just like stocks. You can take a look at those charts and figure out, is this the right thing to trade with right now? When you do trade something, you're on Trader Joe and you want to make an exchange, make sure that you watch out for slippage. What is slippage? Slippage is just when you trade, you lost some of your asset because of the other asset, and the amount of liquidity, the um, the fees, etc. You lost some money when you traded. So I can show you a little bit about slippage on Trader Joe. All right, so let's go. Let's take a look at some MIM. I want to trade 1,000 MIM for some USDT. Okay, 1,000, not too bad. 998. Different stablecoins are worth different values. So maybe MIM is slightly lower than USDT right now on the peg. It's less than $1 maybe. But let's say I want to trade even more MIM. Oh, 9973. So we're going down a little bit. We've got some slippage. Oh, 100,000 to USDT. We've got some major slippage. Suddenly, what was 1,000 MIM to 998 USDT is now far less than that. So when you're making trades, watch out for slippage. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you want to avoid slippage, you can always make lower trades or look for a spot with better liquidity. Oh, back to the wrong one. All right. When you're making a trade on Trader Joe, they've got that whitelist of tokens that they've already set up for you to trade on. If you're adding a token that you want to trade for, you can add it yourself with a contract address, but you want to make sure that you have the right one. Always make sure that you're using the right contract address for a token. And then last little tip, if you're trading, make sure you use an aggregator like Paraswap. Paraswap is great. It looks at all of the different dexes out there and it says, hey, what's the best trade I can make right now? So for example, say I want 10 Orca, I'm trading AVAX. Paraswap's going to look at all of the different dexes like Pangolin, Lydia, and they're going to try and find you the best route for that trade. Looks like the most liquidity, the best trade I can make is on Pangolin. So if I wanted to say yes, I could trade that AVAX for Orca. If I do this on Trader Joe and there's not a lot of liquidity, I could have some major slippage and lose out on buying some Orca. So Paraswap is a great way to do that. There's other aggregators out there, but this is one I like for Avalanche. We talked about providing liquidity earlier. When you provide liquidity, you receive rewards for doing so. You can keep or trade those rewards. And that's basically called farming with your liquidity. You're planting something and you're reaping the rewards of it, right? One thing that I want to point out is you don't necessarily have to keep those rewards. You could actually use those to get more of the same collateral that you started giving liquidity for. One great way to do that doesn't require anything from you, doesn't require you to go in and claim rewards, trade wars, use gas, etc., is auto compounding. You can set up auto compounding on a site like YieldYak and put your liquidity in on a platform, never have to think about it again. YieldYak is there doing it for you. So let's look at an example real quick. I'm on YieldYak and I take a look at all the farms they have, and say I want to trade, I want to farm Joe versus AVAX. I like Joe, I like AVAX. They've got a farm for that from Trader Joe. And what they can actually do is you can deposit your uh, Joe LP, and they can auto compound the AVAX and Joe rewards that are happening for it right now and get you a higher APR because of that. That's their APY, excuse me. That's really cool. You don't have to do anything. They're going to make you more money. It's going to sit there and reap those rewards. Basically, what they're doing is they're taking the Joe and AVAX from the Joe Rush rewards, and they're trading those back into your liquidity to get you more and get you a higher reward rate, right? So pretty cool. YieldYak is awesome. Check it out. Thanks to YieldYak for sponsoring this. We'll talk about the giveaway at the end in the Discord channel about how that works. The other cool thing about YieldYak is you can actually use it for just single assets. You don't need to provide liquidity for trading and potentially face some loss there. You can actually just provide a single asset like AVAX. They do that with a lot of different platforms, like Aave, Benqui, Banker Joe, etc. And the cool thing about YieldYak, they're going to make you even more because of leveraging. They use leveraging in a really safe way, I think, to make you a little bit more with that single side asset. So pretty cool. If you've got stuff like AVAX just sitting around, you got a ton of it, you want to make a little bit more money, take it to YieldYak, get those rewards. So we talked about auto compounding. One other thing to think about when you're farming is there's going to be some opportunity loss. Some people call this impermanent loss. When you put those two tokens together, if one of those tokens raises in price, that means folks are trading in and out of the pool. There's going to be some opportunity loss if you just kept those tokens. Depends on a lot of things. This is really one of those advanced topics. I'd encourage you to go look up impermanent loss and learn more about it, but it's something to think about. Um, Especially be careful that you pair something carefully. Um, you don't want to, generally, you don't want to pair a stable coin and a volatile asset. Putting in something like MIM and AVAX into a pool, AVAX price is probably going to go up, but the price of MIM is going to stay stable. You're going to lose out on some gains if you had just held the same amount of MIM and the same amount of AVAX. You're going to lose out. So just got to think about that. Make sure that you're accounting for that. The other thing to think about is if you're farming on sites that take deposits, deposit fees or withdrawal fees, if those are hefty, like 2%, it's possible that you're getting rugged. How does that work? Well, they take the 2% that take a fee from your deposit. They take that, it's theirs. They in turn give you their own token for farming there, and you get maybe that token in a higher APR. But what if that token just gets sold by a lot of people and you are suddenly at a loss because the value of it is down and you never make that back? That's called it's one version of a soft rug. The other thing to worry about is just unknown farms, new farms, unverified, unaudited. You can deposit your funds somewhere and lose them completely. Got to be really careful. Do your own research. Let's talk about lending for a second. Another thing you can do in DeFi is just lend your assets or borrow against them. You provide your collateral, you want to take a loan out against it, and often you receive a reward for doing so. Pretty awesome. Takes a little bit of the risk out of things. With single side asset lending, you're not going to get impermanent loss, for example. There is still risk though. You can be exposing yourself to a platform that maybe isn't trusted, new, or if they're exploited using a flash loan or something like that, you might lose those funds. The other thing is if your funds are being borrowed and there's a really high utilization rate, you might go to withdraw those funds and they might be in use at the time. So just be careful, understand what lending entails, and you should be good to go. Places like Aave or Blizz is a new one on Avalanche. It's really cool. Almost $3 billion at Blizz of deposits. Do your own research on Blizz. I've really liked it so far. You can get a higher APR, but like I talked about with these APRs, sometimes you get a reward token, and that reward token goes down in value. You might end up losing money. Just FYI. The other thing note about when you're depositing stuff, take a look at that deposit APY. You're going to be making this as a reward for using Blizz. You get additional Blizz tokens. You get that APR. But if you're borrowing, you're going to owe some money. Over the lifetime of your loan, you're going to have to pay that back. So you're going to start seeing numbers when you deposit and then borrow against something. Your loan will actually go up as you owe money. You have to pay that off to get your collateral back. One thing that I like to do, and this is an advanced technique, not for everybody, and I would definitely warn against doing this in a really bearish market, is long my assets with a lending platform. You can take something like AVAX, deposit it, borrow against it for USD coin, and then use that USD coin to buy more AVAX, deposit it, let it sit. As long as the price of AVAX goes up over your loan more than the borrow APY, eventually you can take the extra AVAX that you got, withdrew it, sell it for USD coin, and your loan's gone, and you've made a little bit more money. You had more exposure to that asset. But again, that is really an advanced technique. Make sure you know what you're doing there. It's called leveraging. You got to be careful with leverage. Let's talk about leverage. Leveraging is using lending to increase your fund access. You've got collateral. You can get a loan against it. You can use that loan that you got to buy more collateral. The really cool thing about this is some platforms make this automated for you. Impermax makes it automated for you. You can go farm at a leveraged farming level and basically get a higher APR for your farming. Now, something to think about for Impermax is your opportunity loss, your impermanent loss, if those tokens go in price, change in price dramatically, it's multiplied. When you leverage, you're basically multiplying what happens. So let's take a look. We've got AVAX and Spell here. I think the current APR for the AVAX and Spell farm is really low. It's something like 60%. If you were to go into Impermax and leverage it, you can leverage up to 5 times. Do not max leverage. You will lose your collateral. Do not max leverage. Do something much safer. Take a look at the limits. Make sure you know what you're doing. But if you did that, you could get 331% APR, which is pretty great. Take a look at that. This is an advanced technique. Don't do it unless you know what you're doing. Well, take a step back one more time. The other thing, leverage, you can do the same thing with something like Abracadabra, where you deposit your funds, get a loan against it, buy more loans. That's leveraging once you deposit it back. My.finance, same thing. DeFi, you'll probably hear about stablecoins. Stablecoins are just assets that are meant to trade for one USD in value. Teddy Cash is a great example of that. You deposit your collateral, you can use it to get some stablecoins. Stablecoins have a couple different mechanics to maintain their peg, and by that I mean stay within $1 of value. And I'm simplifying this, but there's really two types of stablecoins. There's algorithmic and collateralized. Algorithmic uses the market's kind of push and pull to keep it within $1 by limiting supply or asking more for more supply, incentivizing supply. Collateralized stablecoins have backing. You can go and MIM is backed by all of the collateral types that are on Abracadabra. So let's take a look at Abracadabra real quick. And Abracadabra is a way to make magical internet money. What you do is you can go in and borrow against your collateral. I'm on AVAX right now. You can deposit AVAX and you can borrow MIM against it. When you do that, there's a limit that they put to how much you can borrow. You're charged interest, and if your collateral ever goes below the liquidation price, you will be liquidated and there will be a fee for it that's taken. So super important to know. There's lots of different ways that MIM keeps its peg, stays to $1, but just want you to kind of get an idea of what that's about. What's great about stablecoins is it's an awesome way to keep your funds in crypto, but cut down your risk. Say that you think a bear market is coming, you can sell your assets into a stablecoin like MIM, into a stablecoin like USDC, whatever you're into, and keep that on the network and available for trade just in case you were wrong, just in case you want to use it as liquidity, etc. You don't have to take that and turn it into fiat, take it to your bank through Coinbase and withdraw it. You can keep it on the network, which is really cool. Let's talk about Treasury Protocols really quick. Here I'm talking about things like Wonderland, or Snowbank, which is a new one. What is a Treasury Protocol? Well, it's you've got the Treasury, which is the protocol collecting assets, and then they give you a token for basically that represents your access to that Treasury. When the Treasury grows through minting, you benefit. Everyone benefits that's got that token. You can take the token and use it. It basically gives you access to those funds. How do you get that token? You mint it by giving it another asset like MIM or AVAX, etc., or you buy it on the open market. The big thing about this is if you're using a Treasury protocol, make sure you know what it's all about. Make sure you know the community. There's lots of forks out there. And you should know that a lot of people call this a Ponzi. Why do people call this a Ponzi? There's a lot of reasons. I'm not sure that they're valid. I've never seen a Ponzi actually make money. You'd be used for a launch pad, make money off of liquidity, etc., etc. So I think they're kind of cool and maybe something to look into. But make sure that you know, hey, early people sometimes benefit more than later, but people that stick around also benefit. So just know what a Treasury protocol is and what it's used for. I gave some examples there. I'm not going to go into these in more detail. Check them out. These are pretty advanced. The other thing about a Treasury protocol, get to know the community, talk with them, ask questions. Um, and then we'll talk about NFTs really quick and collecting them. NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are basically a way to truly own something on the internet, on the blockchain. Um, you can buy an NFT, a non-fungible token, and you can say that it's one of one or one of 10,000. There's no way to lie about that. And you own it. It's really yours. There's NFTs for music, NFTs for art. There's going to be NFTs for all sorts of things. And basically, this is a digital asset that is on the blockchain. You can say, I own this. There's no way to make another one. They're non-fungible. Um, how do NFTs play into DeFi? Well, you can mint NFTs once they start out, like the Avalanche Animal Party. I've got that GIF there. You can mint those, or you can buy them at a marketplace. Anything that's possible to buy at a marketplace is something that can have profit attached to it. There's value. Someone is assessing it for value and saying, I think this is worth more than you're selling it for, so I'm going to buy it. The other thing about NFTs is a lot of them have royalties that when they're sold, the profit from that sale, or at least a percentage, will go to whoever maybe first minted it, or the community that made it, or et cetera, et cetera. What I'll say about NFTs is make sure that you find a project that you truly like. I don't speculate on NFTs. A lot of people do. NFTs are super hot right now. Maybe they won't be so hot in the future, but make sure that you really like the artwork. Make sure that you really like the team, the community. This is how I got into the Avalanche Party Animals. Is I learned about them. I kind of looked at the art. I really love this idea of making Wolfie the official mascot of Avalanche instead of the unofficial one. I think it brings a lot of value to Avalanche, and so I am totally into it. Um, the other thing about NFTs, take a look at the markets for them. There's lots of them. Avalanche has, I don't know how to pronounce it, Kaleo, just launched. We're going to be using Kaleo for the Avalanche Party Animals. So take a look at that and make sure you check out Avalanche Party Animals. Check out APA_NFTs on Twitter, and we're minting on 11/13. So pretty cool. Nearing the end here, I want to talk about bridging. What is bridging? Not necessarily a DeFi topic at its core, but it's how you get into it. Bridging is how you move assets across a network quickly and safely, or sometimes not safely. There are bridges that get exploited, so be careful out there. If you've ever heard about going from ETH mainnet to Avalanche, or Avalanche to Polygon, or Arbitrum to wherever, you're talking about bridging. You're crossing one blockchain network to another. You need to bridge those funds. A lot of people think it's scary. It is easier than you think. The one thing that you need to make sure of is you have gas on the other end of whatever network you're going to when you send collateral over, when you send assets over, you have gas so that you can use it on the other end. Don't get stranded. Uh, a super easy way to bridge funds from ETH to Avalanche is bridge.avax.network. When you send at least $75 worth of assets, you get free gas. You're not going to get stranded. Avax has your back. Um, just try it out. If you're on ETH mainnet, get over to Avalanche using the bridge. Other great bridges there are AnySwap, Elk Finance, excuse me, that should be Cbridge, not Cambridge, and Allbridge. Take a look at those, learn about them. Try bridging the next time you hear about a project you want to check out and invest in. And it should be super easy. What would I say about succeeding in DeFi? I've got a lot of thoughts here, but just a couple. When you get into DeFi, the first thing I'd say is do the work. You're putting money into this. You're going to need to put in the work. Learn about what you're doing. Don't just ape and then do the diligence later. Make sure you know what you're doing. If you don't know why something's valuable, you might end up being priced out. You might end up getting rugged, etc. The other thing I'll say is if you want to succeed in DeFi is get involved, get a good community, and make sure you find friends in it. The community is going to be your biggest asset. That's why I love places like my Frog Nation Discord or the Avalanche Party Animals Discord. We're not just about NFTs. We're about like building up a community on Avalanche and really building each other up, educating each other, getting that alpha, learning about success and failure stories, building something even, um, and then make sure as you're in DeFi, invest only what you can lose. Someone's going to get rugged. You're going to get wrecked at some point. You're going to get into the wrong project. They're going to do something. Make sure that your funds are ones that you can lose. No one wants to see people out on the street because of DeFi. Um, you'll probably end up getting some help from DeFi users. It's a great community. It's a great bunch of people, but only invest what you can lose. Um, how do you get to that place that you're comfortable to lose some funds? Well, often it's taking profits. A lot of people don't necessarily like to take profits. It's kind of I look down on in some ways. But if there's a project you like, you've made some profit from it, take some. Take some and put it in a stablecoin. Take some and put it into another project that you like. Make it easier to rest at night. Get out there and take a break. It's super important to be able to do that and not come away stressed, angry, etc. I'll reiterate that again. Make sure you rest up. You can get into DeFi and spend all day and all night doing this, and you're going to get exhausted, burnt out, and it's not going to be. You're going to have a mental health crisis, to be frank. There are resources for folks like that. DeFi Ted has been starting something up on his Twitter and on Discord. Check it out. But rest up. And then finally, this is all about technology. This is all about coding. This whole thing has a backbone of smart contracts and the blockchain. If you don't know what's going on with those, get to know. That's going to be your biggest success, other than finding community and resting. Really, take a look at those contracts, learn how to look at them, read them, make sure you know what they're doing. It is not hard as you think. Um, so, for example, take a look at Snow Trace and just take a look at contracts. You can take a look at verified contracts. take a peep at them. What's going on? What's new? Here's a time lock. Here's maybe a new token. You can learn about what things are doing, and you're going to find some stuff that sometimes gets you worried, sometimes gives you a little reassurance. But by looking at a smart contract, you're going to learn a ton about how this all works. What is Snowtrace? It's the Avalanche Explorer for all these smart contracts. You can go in, you can do something in your wallet, take a look at all of the things that you've done, take a look at your transactions, go in and search for them, and then find a contract that you interacted, and you can read it, find out some of the values that it has. This is a time lock. So this time lock is going to say only these transactions can take place after this time. You can see here that this time lock has a delay, it has a grace period, things like that. Here's the owner or the admin of this time lock, etc. And here's how you interact with this smart contract. Um, I don't expect folks to learn how to read code, but it's really, really helpful to be able to do so. Eventually, if you're in DeFi long enough, I think you should start checking out Solidity, start checking out Rust, Viper, etc., and get to know what a smart contract does, at least at a high level. So I'd love to take specific questions. I'm going to go look back through the chat and make sure that we get those. If you're on YouTube chat, put those into the chat on YouTube. If you're on the Discord, put those into the Discord. I'm going to be trying to answer about 10. I want to respect everyone's time, make sure that happens. The other thing to know is we're going to have details in the Discord after this, so make sure you look at that. I got some good questions on taking profit as a joke. Okay, that looks like a joke. I'm looking back through our questions on YouTube. Not a lot of questions so far, but what's an aggregator? What is an aggregator? This is when you're trading. It's something like Paraswap that will take all of the decentralized exchanges, Trader Joe, Pangolin, all of those, and say, hey, where's the best liquidity for this token? How can I get the best deal? It aggregates all of those routes and will trade for the best deal. Looking for other questions here. Looking back through. Not seeing too many questions here. All right. Unless I see a couple of questions start popping in, I'm going to say that's it for today. I've had a really great time hanging out with you all. Make sure to follow Avalanche Party Animals on their Twitter. Check out the website partyanimals.xyz. Check out Yield Yak. Thank you to Yield Yak for sponsoring this talk. Um, Make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'll have that in the description. You can find it in my Discord profile. And please keep partying hard. I see some folks type in. I'm going to make sure that we take a look at questions.